What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Kings-related podcast, wherever you may be, and this post-game recap of the Sacramento Kings' 6th straight loss and the 3 now on this 6-game road trip, losing to the Knicks 103-87, and this game was much closer than the final score indicates. But thank you as always for joining me for another edition of the show. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us a follow on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your audio podcasts. Be much appreciated. And we're also available on YouTube, so please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. This game was closer to what the final score actually was, as the Sacramento Kings, they visited the New York Knicks on this Tuesday evening in New York, frigid New York City, dealing with all the weather back there on the East Coast. And this game was tied through 3 quarters. But unfortunately, there are 4 quarters to an NBA game, and the Sacramento Kings only scored 15 points in that 4th quarter alone. And in the second half overall, the Kings scored 36 points in the second half. The Kings' best quarter was the second, 25-16 in favor of Sacramento. They were outscored 31-15 in the final 12 minutes. The Kings in this game, they had 17 turnovers in this game, and the New York Knicks, with those turnovers by Sacramento, they had 23 points off of those 17 turnovers. The Kings, they had 20 points off of the Knicks' 18 turnovers. And in this game alone, it was Jalen Brunson, who only played, 4 minutes in the first meeting of this between these two clubs back in Sacramento. But tonight, Brunson scored 28 points. And New York, they dominated that 4th quarter to beat the Kings. You had Bridges, who added 18 points. Towns in this game, 17 points, 11 rebounds for the Knicks. This game was tied at 72 after 3 quarters. And then the Knicks just dominated that 4th quarter. And Towns posted his 30th double-double of the season. Now the Knicks have their longest winning streak, 3 games, since December 25th through the 29th. Jalen Brunson, 11 of his 28 points came in the final 3.5 minutes in this basketball game. OG Anunoby, who also was in double figures for the Knicks, he chipped in 15 points. Mitchell Robinson, who you always got to be on the lookout for when he's on the floor, 13 rebounds for Mitchell Robinson off that Knicks bench. Dylan Cardwell for the Sacramento Kings, 10 rebounds off the Kings bench in this game. The Knicks, they ended the first quarter, they were up 10 after the first 12 minutes, 36-26, before the Kings came out in that second quarter and they won that second. The only good thing from the Kings in this game is that they won that second quarter, because it was an awful second for the New York Knicks. And bad as that second was for New York, the Kings were only down 1, 52-51 at the half, and it was only DeMar DeRozan, who really showed up in that first half, 22 points at the halftime. And the Kings, they needed someone else to step up. And they really did not have much of anybody else step up in this basketball game. Like tonight, it was DeRozan or bust. And the Kings kept up with the Knicks. And this game was closer than the final score indicates for most of this game. And DeRozan put this team on his freaking back. And the 17-year vet, he lit up New York's defense. 34 points, 13 of 26 shooting to go with 5 rebounds in this game. Nothing new for DeRozan in this, but still, that was impressive to watch. The one thing that this may have done is maybe hurt his trade value for coming up at the trade deadline, because I really believe DeRozan could really help a team, playoff team here down the stretch of this regular season. Domantas Sabonis, not enough tonight for the big man. He just couldn't find any space on the floor to operate. It wasn't a bad or horrible game from Domas but with you had no Zach LaVine or Malik Monk, both sidelines with injuries. Monk with the ankle, Zach with the back soreness. And the Kings, they needed more than just 11 points from Domas tonight on 5 of 10 shooting to go with, 7 rebounds and 7 assists. With both those guys out, you needed more from your big man in this game tonight. But it's not all his fault, but you needed more to see, especially with DeRozan putting this team on his back for most of this game. So would have been nice to see. But with Monk out with the ankle, Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench tonight for Sacramento. He brought a little that extra energy that you miss with Malik out, and it really did not translate at all in this game. Some nice spots defensively from Dennis, but just 4 points, 1 of 8 shooting, just 4 assists. Tough sledding for Dennis Schroeder. You needed much more, especially with Malik Monk out with the ankle injury. And Russell Westbrook, we've all heard of the wall that NBA rookies hit midway through the regular season where they struggle. Is there anything normal called the vet wall? Because Russell Westbrook here lately has seemed to have hit that veteran wall. 6 of 19 tonight for the Kings against the Knicks. He was 1 for 7 from long range in this game, and he had 6 turnovers. Still an issue here lately for Russell Westbrook, turning the ball over. Now has 4 turnovers or more in 7 of the last 9 games for Russell Westbrook. Just can't happen, especially from your veteran starting point guard on this team. Precious Achiuwa, who had a breakout game against the Knicks back in Sacramento. Not tonight in New York. Precious tore up his former team in Sacramento when they visited earlier this month on the way to the Kings win, where he posted 20 points, 14 rebounds back in Sacramento. He started against New York again tonight and just 6 points on 5 rebounds tonight. So really nice scenes to see defensively from Precious in this game. The Kings rookies, all 3 of them. At one point, we saw all 3 of them on the floor together. And for the first time playing under the bright lights in Madison Square Garden, not too bright for Neek, Max, or Dylan. And an NBA player's first visit to the Garden can be overwhelming for some players. But Dylan Cardwell, he held up okay in this game. 4 points, 10 rebounds. Nick Clifford, 7 points, 3 steals in this game. Maxine Reynaud has had better games that we've seen from him this season, but not tonight. And this is all part of the process of being a young player in the NBA in your rookie season, and you go through stuff. And has Max hit that rookie wall for the Sacramento Kings? It seems like it, but it's all part of the process as a young player in this league. And the Kings tonight, just 5 of 30 from long range in this game. 17% shooting from the 3 ball. And in today's NBA, that's not going to cut it. If you don't make your threes, you are not going to win ball games in this league. So one of the big spots for Sacramento is if you can't make three, and we've seen it time and time again this season. If the Kings don't hit threes, they don't score much, and they don't win much. So because DeRozan, he can't carry the Kings every game, especially he couldn't carry them tonight past the New York Knicks. But did he impress teams as we head towards the NBA trade deadline coming up February 5th? So the Sacramento Kings may have won the battle between Doug Christie and Mike Brown in Sacramento, but tonight was a very different story as the Knicks win 103-87. The game was, as I mentioned earlier, way more closer than that final score may have indicated. So Kings lose. They are now 12-36 on the season, and that's a good thing, because you don't want this team winning very much more any games to impact your odds this offseason in the NBA draft lottery, because you really want to stay in that top 3 in the draft lottery, because those 3 teams each have a 14% chance of getting the number one overall pick in this June's draft. And it's the top 4 players that we've all heard about: Peterson, Boozer, AJ Debonsa. So those are the top 3 players in this draft that a lot of people have been talking about this season. So Kings lose. This road trip continues on Thursday in Philadelphia against the Sixers, and then the very next night, it's a back-to-back. They're in Boston on Friday night against the Celtics, and then they wrap up this road trip Sunday in Washington against the Washington Wizards as they wrap up this road trip. And that should be the Tankathon Bowl Part 2. But again, besides the little showcase that DeMar DeRozan put on, really impressed with Nick Clifford tonight in this game. Other than DeRozan, Clifford was the other positive takeaway for the Kings tonight, as he had a strong game. He finished the night, as I mentioned, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals. If you look at the box score, that really doesn't jump off the page, but he's looking more confident than at any point this season so far. So outside of some of those garbage time minutes that we saw early in the season where the Kings were getting absolutely boat race in games, and he got a little more minutes. So, but most importantly, he played just under 30 minutes in this game. Clifford did, and again, his second straight start with Zach out, missing his second straight game, and it's hard to remember thinking as both Max and Dylan Cardwell bursting on the scene and stealing all the headlines this season, but Clifford has come into this season with the most potential and buzz out of all the Kings rookies this season. So Clifford continues to impress. Max kind of hitting that rookie wall. Dylan Cardwell, I'm guaranteeing you he will get a standard NBA contract when the Kings have a roster spot to open up as we get past the trade deadline. So Kings lose. They are now 12-36 on the season. They play Philadelphia on Thursday, and we will be back for another post-game recap following that game on Thursday night. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your audio podcasts on whatever platform you use. We are a video podcast on Spotify and YouTube, so by all means, please catch the video feed. But until next time, thank you as always for joining me for another edition of a Kings related podcast, and we'll see you Thursday night following the Philadelphia and Sacramento game. And as always, go Kings.